I've started a series of 30 different videos teaching different techniques and tips of how to sharpen knives. In the past 3 videos, I've shown you the how-to of knife sharpening. In this video, I'm going to help you to see if you did it efficiently. Let's go! Well, hello and thanks for joining me today off the stone here. What I'm going to talk about today is going to be the most important thing I've talked about so far, because if you don't get this right, your knives aren't going to cut as effectively as they should. Today we're going to talk about the apex, and the apex of your knife is the absolute peak or tip of the edge of your knife. If this isn't done correctly, like I said, your knife is not going to cut super effectively. It may cut, and you may have some results, but you're not going to have the results that you're going to want compared to a correctly apex knife edge. So what can a non-apex edge look like? It could be more rounded or flat. If you have flat spots on the edge of your knife, it's obviously not going to cut as effectively as it should. And in this video, I'm going to go through 2 demonstrations, a visual demonstration and a cutting demonstration, so that you know for sure that you've apexed your knife correctly. This is the visual representation. Now, this first knife is a Spyderco paring knife, and this knife is not apexed. What you're looking for to see if it's not apexed is any shiny spots along the edge. You want to not even be able to see really that line at all. You don't want to see like it almost looks white. You want it to not shine at all. And what I'll do is I'll take a sharpening stone and I'll rake this knife across it to make it really bad in another spot so you can see even better what it looks like when it's not apexed. So let me grab, this is a 325 grit DMT stone. So what I'll do is I'll just work on the heel of this blade and I'll just dull it up nice and good. That'll be fun. Yeah, look at how thick that looks now. How you can see how thick that edge looks down there now. Alright, so that is what you don't want. Now I will show you an apex knife. This is an SE Candy-Roo. This is a cool little fixed blade knife. Very small fixed blade knife, but still very useful. We'll get it in focus here. Alright. What I'll do is tilt the knife up and down. So as you can see, you don't see any shiny spots along the tip of this knife. In fact, it's actually hard to see the edge of the knife, isn't it? It's exactly what you want. Now let me grab the Spyderco paring knife and we'll compare them together so that you can see all along the knife edge of both. See the difference? You don't want that, you do want this. Alright, the first thing I like to do to test whether or not I've apexed a knife correctly is to see if the knife shaves. This is a very great test because if you've apexed your knife on any stone, it will shave hair. Okay, that is not biting even the slightest. Let's see how the SE does. Be a little more careful with this one. See how smoothly that just cut all that hair? So that's what an apex knife will do. It'll shave hair really well. Another test I like to do is a paper towel cut test. Paper cut tests are great too, but I feel like it's definitely harder to cut through paper towel smoothly if the knife isn't apexed well. Sometimes a knife will cut through paper pretty decent, even if it's not apexed super well. Alright, non-apexed. Got to saw through that quite a bit. So as you can see, the Candy Apex knife cuts through the paper towel no problem. The Spyderco paring knife, definitely struggling. Let's move on to cutting some fruits and vegetables. Alright, the fruit and vegetable cut test. Let's start with the non-apexed Spyderco paring knife. See how well it does. Now shockingly, because of this edge geometry, even though this knife isn't apexed, it will still cut semi-decently through this tomato. Just kind of a testament to the design of this paring knife by Spyderco. And when this knife is apexed correctly, it cuts like a dream. Razor sharp knife. On to the strawberry cut test. So how this edge reminds me right now is kind of what you would get from a store-bought knife. Cuts, but not super well. And the Brussels sprout. Yeah, this really shows. Jeez, that really shows how much pressure I have to put down to cut into that knife, or to cut into that Brussels sprout. That took a lot of effort. On to the humble little candy roux. The geometry of this knife has a very thick edge, so it's more for like a camp knife, batoning through some wood, obviously small twigs and such. So it's not going to maybe cut as, because the knife edge isn't as thin as that knife, it's going to cut differently. Different knives are meant for different things. And even though this is a much thicker knife, it cuts through no problem. Let's do that with the Spyderco. See, that shows the difference. I mean, it's not even getting through that. So that's the difference. Even though this has a really thick edge, because it's apexed, it will cut much better. Right, let's cut through the strawberry. Yeah, look at how little effort I have to use. No problem. Probably a better way to demonstrate this would be with two of these, since they're meant to cut vegetables. Brussels sprouts are just not easy to cut. These hard little cabbages, definitely much harder to cut through. Well guys, I hope that helped. Make sure you apex your knives so they cut as effectively as they should. If you enjoyed the content in this video today, please give it a like and make sure you subscribe because I have a lot more content coming in the future.